So, Kal Kadosh, Boker Tov, we're going to continue with Daf Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, 117a1. So, says the Gemara, Midami, can you compare both cases together? There, Hatam, to do with the case where we're saving, you're talking about a Sefer Torah, the Tik of the Sefer Torah became a basis to the Varam Amutar, to something which was the Sefer Torah, which is something permitted. Here, Hacha, Naasa basis to the Vara Asur, became a basis to something which is prohibited. Because again, we're talking about the Korban Pesach, the skins became prohibited to the meat, which you're not allowed to carry. But this is what he meant to say. If you can save the tik of the Sefer Torah with the Sefer Torah, and even though you have money inside of it, you shouldn't come and you shouldn't also save the meat from sirachon, save the meat from becoming ruined, even though you're not allowed to carry it. So says the Gemara, Midami, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, it becomes a basis for something which is prohibited and permitted. Hacha, but over here, the entire thing became a basis to something which is prohibited. But this is what it meant to say. If you're going to bring a tik, you have inside of it money, me'alma, from the world, right? La'atzil bo sefer Torah, to save a sefer Torah, which means if right now you're going to come and bring a tik, a regular tik, and now you can put the sefer Torah inside of that tik, okay? And you don't have to throw out the money from this tik. You can't carry the or because of the basar, you can't carry the skins because of the meat, which means I have a sefer Torah here. And by the way, you should know, it was Mina Shamayim. Somebody just last night sent me that there was a huge fire in Boca Raton. The families, I would say the entire house burned down, basically, right? The firefighters went inside. You saw the flames. You saw everything. Firefighters went inside, and they were able to save a few things. You know what they saved? A Sefer Torah that was more than 100 years old, untouched. No fire, no smoke, no water from the what's it called? From the hoses. Nothing. Yeah, it went all over. It was in the news. So somebody sent it to me from the news. And now I'm just saying, look, Mina Shamayim, we're talking about saving a Sefer Torah from the fire, right? And look what, you know.
Incredible.
Yeah, if you want, Ablina, I'll send it out. It was something incredible. It was all the firefighters even said that it was like, you know, like they didn't understand, like, you know, what's going on here. And not only that, Kiddush cups, certain like religious artifacts, nothing happened to it. And it didn't make sense. Everything else was burnt. The entire family lost everything, basically. You know, that is almost everything. But wow. Incredible. Okay? So here it says, how do you know you're allowed to bring another tik, right? Another bag in order to put a Sefer Torah inside and to save it? If you're going to tell me that when it's already Munach Sefer Batik together with the money, Lo Shadi Lehu, so now you're not allowed to throw money inside of it. You could come and you could bring a tik with money in order to put the Sefer Torah inside of it. So says the Gemara, Midami, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, by the time you're going to come and throw out the money, you're going to have it in fire. Meaning there the permission was, you had a tik with money. We don't obligate you to throw out the money, because by the time you start throwing out the money and then starting to put the Sefer Torah inside and everything, it's going to get burnt. So that's why. Hacha, but over here, that when you're going to bring a tik of money, on the way to getting the Sefer Torah, throw it out. Meaning if you already have the tik with the money, don't throw it out because it's a danger that it could become on fire, right? Just get out of there. Fine. But if you're coming and you're bringing a tik to put the Sefer Torah inside of it, on the way to bringing it to the Sefer Torah, you could throw out all the money. Right? Lishdina. Elamar Baravashi, but rather Baravashi says, Leolam kedamnina meikara. Really, it's like what we said at the beginning. So when you wanted to ask over there, Hatam, Tiltul, that there it's only going to be Mukse, which is the Rabbanan. But by here, by skinning the animal, it's a Melacha Doraita. So he says, 1 second. If you don't need the or, so then it's davar shel mitkaven, right? So says the Gemara, so if it's davar shel mitkaven, it should be mutar. So says the Gemara, 1 second. Abai v'Rav adam nitavayu. By moder b'shimon, mipsik shelo yemut is mipsik reisha. If you're going to come, right, and they both say that even though davar shel mitkaven is mutar, that's not when it's going to be psik reshe. Psik reshe is again the same thing that you're going to cut off the chicken's head and now you're going to say that it's not going to die. It's inevitable. Anything which is inevitable, it's called a psik resha. So you're not allowed to do that. So answers the Gemara, we're talking about that you cut the or, the chatichot dakot, right, with small pieces. And therefore, since it's not normal to skin the animal that way, there's no Yisur Doraita, only the Rabbanan. And therefore, right, we understand why they said that you're allowed to come and, if you're allowed to carry the muksa, which is the Rabbanan, you should be able to skin this animal this way as well, but it's only going to be the Rabbanan. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. Clear until here?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Says the 2 dots. Where are you allowed to save, right, this Sefer Torah and all these things? He said to a mavui she'eno mefulash, a mavui that is not mefulash. So what does that mean? What does that mean mefulash or not mefulash? Amar Rav Chasta, says Rav Chasta, shalosh mechitzot u'shne lechayim. Zeu mavui she'eno mefulash. When you have 3 mechitzot and 2 lechis, right, then that's going to be considered mavui she'eno mefulash. Shalosh mechitzot v'lechi echad, but if you have 3 mechitzot and 1 lechi, it's called a mavui mefulash, right? Which means, let's see here, we have the picture. Shalosh mechitzot and 2 lechis. Shalosh mechitzot means you have 3 walls, meaning it's like a dead-end street. So you have a dead-end street, and then you have 1 lechi and 1 lechi. However, though, if you have 2 lechis here, 1 and 1, if you have only 1 by itself, so then that's called gimel mechitzot v'lechi echad. This is gimel mechitzot and 2 lechis. So if it's got 3 mechitzot and 2 lechis, that's a mavui she'eno mefulash. And 3 mechitzot and 1 lechi is called a mavui mefulash. Does it translate the word mefulash?
No.
No? Okay. I just wanted to know if there's a good English word for it. Okay.
I said open mavoi.
Okay, so he wants to call it that it's not open. Right, it's not open because since you have 3 mechitzot and then on the other side you have 2 lechis, that's what makes it into closed, does it say? Like it's completely closed. And the other one is still open. It only has 1 lechi. And both of them go according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. Whether it's Chachamim or Memetera. It's not as we learned in the Mishnah, Chsher Mavui. How do you make a Mavui kosher to carry within a Mavui? Bet Shammai say you need a lechi ve'korah. And Bet Hillel says o lechi o korah. You need or. Which means this is Bet Shammai. This is called the korah, which is like a beam on top, like the tzurat petach on the top. This is called the lechi. So according to Bet Shammai, you need the top and here. According to Bet Hillel, right, it's or. Now it says shte mechitzot u'shne lechayin is 2 mechitzot and 2 lechis. That's this case, which we're going to be seeing now. So it says, Rabbi Eliezer says shne lechayin. According to Bet Shammai, you need 2 lechis and the korah. So Amale Rabba comes and he says, shalosh mechitzot v'lechi echad. When you have 3, meaning it's closed on 3 ends, and on 1 end you have a mefulash karitle, so you're calling him mefulash. Then furthermore, according to the rabbis, natzil ochli mashkin, you should at least save inside of it not only kitvei kodesh, not only holy scriptures, but also food and drink, right? And Amar Rabba, but rather Rabba says you're right. We're talking about 2 mechitzot and 2 lechis. That's called mavui she'eno mefulash. 2 mechitzot and 1 lechi is called mavui mefulash, and both of them are going according to Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya was learned in a Braita, which means that it's open, right, on both sides. The majority of our streets are like that. which means you have houses on both sides. Let's say Abbott, Byron, you have houses on both sides, but on both sides it's open. You understand? Unless you've got like here, that Abbott is closed. So you're right. Further on in Abbott, we're closed. Right? So it says the time was learned to the right. Yater al ken, more than this. Amar Rabbi Yehuda says Rabbi Yehuda, mishesh lo shne batim mishne tzidei reshut rabim. When you have two houses on two sides of the reshut rabim, oseh lechi mikan velechi mikan, right? Or korah mikan vekorah mikan. You're going to make one lechi from here, one lechi from there, or one korah from here, one korah from there. Venoseh venoten beemtza. You're going to be noseh venoten in the middle. Samrulo, that means you could carry from one place to another in the middle. So it comes out that if you have two houses on two sides, you make a lechi from one way, a lechi in the other way. You make a korah from here, and a korah from there. Then what do? You're allowed to carry in the middle. Amrulo, they said, you cannot make an eruv by reshut rabim like that, which means by putting two lechis or two korot, which means whether according to the Chachamim or whether according to Bemetera in Rabbi Yehuda, stam avui, which is going to be covered with, like it's going to be closed on both sides, meaning like you have two rows of houses, right? You're going to permit it to two lechis or two korot. The machloka between them is, right, or you're allowed to say with Sefer Torah.
If you have a street like that, you should put a mezuzah, no? If you have the two beams on
No, because remember that the two beams, usually to put the two beams, it only has to be 80 centimeters tall. And if there's no, if it's not attached to the top, so therefore it's not called that it has a doorpost.
Okay.
So we would have to look into it, obviously, but I'm saying that's the general, it actually happened to me once. I went to somebody's house when they were in the middle of construction. So it was at the beginning. So we went and we said, okay, fine. So it was a kitchen. So we went and we said, okay, so we're going to have to put the mezuzah on the right side. So we put the mezuzah on the right side. And then what happened? On the top, he made it flat. He never actually made like a part of a doorpost. So even though you had like two posts, the top part was all flat. There was no post. So it was like all like flat and then just like wall, and flat. There was nothing there. So the person went and he told him, hey, 1 second, why do you have a mezuzah here? So he said, I don't know. So the next time the person saw me, he showed it to me. So I said, but I thought there was supposed to be like a post there. It was true. They just made it flat at the end. But it was going to be a post there. Like it was going to be like, to close it off. But
I understand.
So Amalei Abaye comes and he says, even according to you, according to Rabbanan, we should save food and drink inside of it. So it says Kuf Yudzayin Amud Bet. And Ravashi, but rather Ravashi says Shalosh mechitzot belechi echad. When you have three mechitzot in one lechi, it's called the mavui shel mefulash. Three mechitzot without a lechi is mavui mefulash. And even according to Rabbi Eliezer that he says bayin lechayim, that with lechayim that we need two lechis. Hanemina with these words for ochli mashkin for food and drink. But for a Sefer Torah with one lechi, it's enough to save inside of it. Okay, fine. Says the Mishnah. Matzilim mazon shalosh seudot. You're allowed to save food for Shabbat for 3 seudot. Hara'ui la'adam, which is fitting for a human being. Lechol adam, right? But he says lechol adam, and for hara'ui lebe'ema, lebe'ema. So anything which is fitting for a human being, right? That means each person has enough for 3 seudot. So if there's 8 people in the family, 10 people in the family, 15 people in the family, 6 people in the family. According to the amount of the family, you could save the amount of food for shalosh seudot for the person. Okay? Remember that once upon a time, right, and this is what I told you, that in Shulchan Aruch, there's an entire siman just on this chapter. And we were learning the Shulchan Aruch. It's actually something incredible because what happens is that it gives you all these halachot. Basically what came out was in the olden days, a person would just have to let his house burn down on Shabbat. Nowadays, completely different. When you get to, I think it's like Sif Kavav in the Shulchan Aruch, all of a sudden there's a Ramah, and according to the Ramah, changes the entire siman. The entire siman goes down the drain. What does he say? Nowadays, where it's dangerous, right, for human life, so then you would have to put out the fire. So according to that, meaning in the olden days, the houses were so dispersed, so fine, a house burned down, Gamarno, that's it. It wasn't like it's one house catches fire, and then you have like an entire block that could catch fire. Right? It was, each house was in their own farm, their own thing. No problem. What happens here, though, is nowadays since it's dangerous, you have to put out the fire right away. So therefore, all these halachot really don't apply anymore. But it says, Keitzad, what does that mean? Naflad leka b'leil Shabbat, if the fire starts on Friday night before the meal, you've saved 3 meals. If it's in Shachrit, right before the meal of Shachrit in the morning, you only could save 2 meals for Shachrit and Suda Shlishit. Because by Mincha, before Suda Shlishit, you could only save 1 meal. Rabbi Yossi says, now, Leolam Atzlim Mazon Shlo, you could always save 3 Seudot for the entire day. It doesn't matter where you are, you could save 3 meals. Okay? Michti, so the Gemara asks, we're going to see, Be'etera Katarach, if he's doing something which is permitted, Natzil Tvei, save more than 3 meals. So Rava says, since a person is very, very, he goes crazy about his money, if you're going to permit him, he's going to turn off the fire. Which means, by the way, this is the reason why many times we come and we don't permit people to be their own mashkichim. Right? Sometimes they do permit it. That's very, very problematic. I showed some rabbanim and everything that why a person is a dam bahul al mamono. How many people have the yirat shamayim, right? That all of a sudden they're doing a wedding and now there was a flop. How many people have the yirat shamayim that they're not going to switch, they're not going to do something? Right? They'll try to fix it. They'll try to do all these nonsense. Why? For money. And we're not talking about millions of dollars. We're not talking about the person either making it or breaking it. Sometimes even for a few $1,000s, even a few $100s. Just that way their name is good in the eyes of their customers and clients. They'll do anything. And it's crazy because people will sell their heads and they'll give up all the yirat shamayim and they'll give up their olam haba for a few $100s and they don't realize, or even a few $1,000s. And they don't think with their head. They say it's something incredible. Sometimes I think about it and you hear the stories which are going on in kashrut. You say, but why? No, there wasn't, the Mashiach didn't come, they didn't check the lettuce, so just put out the lettuce. Yeah, but every lettuce, every bug that you eat is 6 averot. So now you just times that about how many bugs were in whatever it is, yeah, by how many people just ate in your restaurant. But that's just the way it is. People, they're not going to say, we just don't have lettuce. You're asking for a salad. We have to give it to you. So what are you going to do? You're going to do it. 1 second. What about HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How much are you losing already? It's sad. It's sad what goes on. But that's what it says here. When a person is bahul al mamono, when a person is crazy about his money, he'll turn it off. He'll turn off the fire. It's sudoraita, but he'll do it. He'll turn off the fire. Okay? So Amar Abai comes and he says, that which we learned, what happens if a person's barrel of wine breaks on his roof? You could bring a utensil and put it underneath it. As long as you're not going to bring another utensil, the yiklot, and grab it in the middle there. Right? Or you can bring another utensil and attach it to it. What's the reasoning there? What's the isur? What are you doing already? You're trying to save the wine which is in your barrel, which is leaking out. So says the Gemara, Hachanam, you're right. Gezerah there also, the Gezerah is that maybe you're going to bring a utensil through the Reshut Rabim. Meaning you're not going to find the utensil at home. You're going to go to your neighbor, get something, and you're going to bring it. There's no eruv. You're bringing it in the Reshut Rabim. So Gufa, we're going to actually analyze this. Ishberalo chavit, right, berosh kago, if the chavit was broken at the top of the gag, of the top of the roof, you could bring a utensil, bring it, put it underneath it. And as long as you're not going to bring another utensil and you're going to get it in midair, for another utensil and put it there. If you have orchim, if you have guests, you could bring another utensil and you could grab it in midair. You're not going to grab it and then afterwards bring it, pick it up. But rather invite the guests and then do it. But you can't invite guests, they already ate. Because then it's like a trick. But Rabbi Yehuda says you are allowed to do that. You could invite guests, and then you could save for the guests. So Lema beplukta Rabbi Eliezer v'Yishua b'Kami when we just say it's machlok Rabbi Yishua and Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Oto ve'beno, an animal and its child, you're not allowed to slaughter on the same day. Okay, you cannot slaughter an animal and its child on the same day. Shenaflu lebor. They both fell into a pit on Yom Tov. Now, Chachamim say that you're not allowed to come and you're not allowed to bring it out of the pit unless you could do shechita on the same day. Now, you have a technical problem. You can't slaughter both of them on the same day. So what are you going to do? Rabbi Eliezer says, you bring out the top one, the first one to slaughter it, right? And the second one, you just give it food. In order that you're not going to die. Yeshua says, no, you bring up the first one to slaughter it, but you don't slaughter it. And then what do? You say, you know what, the second one is fatter. So you bring up the second one. And then whichever one you want, you slaughter it. So you could do arama. You could do like a trick like that, right? So it says, my why? Maybe Eliezer only said it over there, because you could put the money, you could put food inside of the pit in order that it could get parnasah. But hachav over here, the law of Shad that you can't do such a thing. No. Until then, Rabbi Yeshua didn't say over there because of that you got tzar ba'alei chayim, the animal suffering. But here the wine, there's no tzar ba'alei chayim, so maybe we're not going to permit it. So Tanar B'nam, we're going to bring another braita. Hitzil pat nekiyah, em matzil pat adra. If you already took out food, bread, which is good bread, you cannot take out pat kibar, which is actually less important. But if you did take out the pat adra, the bad bread, you could bring a better quality bread out. You could save it. Okay? Matzil pat nekiyah. Matzilim Yom Kippurim Shabbat. You're allowed to save from Kippur to Shabbat, but not from Shabbat to Yom Kippur. And of course, not from Shabbat to Yom Tov. Right? And not from Shabbat to another Shabbat. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. Shachach pat betanur. If you forgot bread in the oven on Erev Shabbat, and you did Kiddush, you could take out Matzlim Mazon Shelo Suda from the tanur. And then you tell other people that they could save from it. Now, if you're going to take the bread out of the oven, you're not allowed to take it out with a pala, with a mardeh, which is like, one of these sticks, which are special for that, but rather with a knife. So it says the Gemara, any is it so? The Hatan of Ishmael, we learned in the Braita, Karam Ishmael, you cannot bring melacha. Yatzat ki shofar diatapat, right? Shei chokhma v'na melacha. This is it's a chokhma, it's not a melacha, which means blowing the shofar or diatapat is a chokhma, it's not a melacha. So says the Gemara, Kama de'efshar l'shurim mishanin. You're right. Whatever is possible to change, we try to change in order that it's not a normal way of doing it during the weekday. That's what you're purposely trying to do. So Amar Rav Chasta says, Rav Chasta, a person should always come and get up early for the tzorchei of Shabbat, Shneimar. Which means a person should wake up early in the morning on Friday in order to prepare for Shabbat. Amar Rabbi Abba says, Rabbi Abba, right? Another thing to do with Sudat Shabbat, okay? Because this is all connected to do with, different things of Sudat Shabbat. Whether it was the person should prepare for Sudat Shabbat, whether now that a person is obligated to do lechem mishneh, 2 breads on Shabbat. Dichtiv, as it's written in the Pasuk, lechem mishneh. So Amar Ravashi comes and he says, I saw Rav Kahana that he took 2, but he only cut 1. Amar laketu, it's written, which means that even though it's written laketu lechem mishneh, they only have to grab 2, but not to break 2. Rabbi Zera used to cut big bread after the bracha that he could have enough for the entire Suda. So it was like mechabev the Sudat Shabbat. So he wouldn't cut a little tiny piece of bread. He used to cut a big piece of bread. Okay, that means the bracha, after making the bracha, he wouldn't cut a little piece of bread for him. He would cut a huge piece of bread, and then from that bread, he would cut from others. Amar le Ravinu Ravashi says, Ravinu Ravashi, he looks like a glutton. Yeah, look what he's doing. Like a person that's always eating. So Amalei says, no. Since every day he would never eat like that, and he was only doing it on Shabbat, it shows that he's only doing it for the Shabbat. So when they used to come and take the bread for the Eruv Chatzerot, so they used to come and they used to start with that bread. Amri, they said, since they did a mitzvah with this, they wanted to do another mitzvah with it. By the way, Eruv Chatzerot, that's what we do for Eruv Tavshilin. Eruv Tavshilin, if you remember, we just did it for Shavuot. So you usually use that bread and egg. They usually will use it for whether it's Sudah Shlishit or one of the Sudot of Shabbat. Why? Because of this concept. Since you already did a mitzvah with it, you continue doing more mitzvah with it. So it says the Mishnah, Ketzad, what's the case? Naflad leika if a fire came down, so you're allowed to save 3 seudot. Tanur, we learned to the right. How many seudot are you obligated to eat on Shabbat? Shalosh, 3. Rav Chidka says 4. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan, Shnei Mikra Chadashu, they both learn from the same pasuk. Vayomer Moshe says, Yichlu Hayom, you're going to eat today. Ki Shabbat Hayom Hashem, but Shabbat is today for Hashem. Hayom, you're not going to find it in the Siddur. Rav Chidka says that these 3 Hayoms is besides the night before. So therefore you have 3 in the day, which is today, and 1 during the night. So it's 4 Seudot. According to the rabbis, no, the first Hayom was the night before. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, Nafla de lekabel el Shabbat, if it came out on Friday night, Kuf Yudchet Amud Aleph, Matzlim Mazon Shalosh Seudot, you could save 3 Seudot. My love de lo achal, are we talking about that you didn't eat from it? So it says the Gemara, lo de achil, you did eat from it. Okay? So says the Gemara, Shachrit, Matzilim Mazon Shte Seudot. So we're on Kuf Yudchet Amud Aleph, 181. So on Shachrit, you're going to save 2 Seudot. Okay? My love de lo achal, are we talking about that you didn't eat? Says, no, you did eat. Okay? And still you're allowed to save 2 Seudot, which are Nishalot. So that's a proof to Rav Chidka. So says the Gemara, B'mincha, Matzilim Seudah Achat, you're only allowed to eat 1 Seudah. My love de lo achal, we're talking about you didn't eat it and therefore you're allowed to eat. So he says, no. You already ate Seudah Shlishit, and you're still going to eat another one, which is Seudah like Ravit on Shabbat itself. So therefore, we keep on disproving who's it like. Is it 4 Seudot or 3 Seudot? So it says the Gemara, but the Seifa says, Rabbi Yosef Omer, Leolam, Matzilim Mazon Shalosh Seudot, you're allowed to save 3 Seudot. Niklal the Tanakama Shalosh Sivele. So it comes out that the Tanakama holds that it's 3. But rather, it comes out that our Mishnah is not like Rav Chidka. Okay? The Haditzran, and that which we learned in the Mishnah, Mishi Yeshlo Mazon Shte Seudot, Lo Yitol Minan Tamchui. Somebody that has Mazon of 2 Seudot, they're not allowed to take from the Tamchui, from the food platter, like from the food bank. Okay? Mazon Arba Esre, Lo Yitol Minan Kupah. If you have Mazon of 14, you shouldn't take from the Kupah. Mani, who is that? So it's not like Rabbanan, and it's not like Rav Chidka. Eat a banana if it's going to be like the rabbis. Chamsre Avyan, it's going to be 15. Eat a Bichidka if it's going to be Rabbi Chidka. Shitzre Avyan, it's 16. Right, because you have an extra 1. Right, because you have 16 Seudot. Right, Shtemesre, 12 for the weekday, was 2 per day. And then you have another 4 for Shabbat. So it's 16. According to the first Shita, it's only 15. So it says the Gemara, and here we said 14. The Olam Etzra Banan. They tell him, they tell him, whatever you're going to eat on the Shabbat afternoon, eat it on the Friday night. So therefore, what's happening is that it's like 2 for 1. So if you have 6 weekdays, the 6th weekday is Friday. So that Friday afternoon, you're not eating in the afternoon, you're going to eat at nighttime. So therefore, it's included. That's why, according to the rabbis, you have 14. So it says the Gemara, but that's only Rabbanan. But then it's not like Rabbi Chidka, obviously. So it says the Gemara, Afilu Tema Yudin, you're going to say it's Rabbi Chidka. We're going to say, whatever you're going to eat on the morning of Shabbat, also eat it in the nighttime of Shabbat. So basically, you don't eat anything on Friday, which was a minhag, by the way. It was a minhag of certain Hasidim, not like the real Hasidim, that they would fast on Fridays. So yes, what? You're going to be in Tanit the entire Friday? Hamani, but who is this? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva. The Amar Rabbi Akiva says, Shabbat echachol, make your Shabbat like a weekday, and do not need people. Which means if you're able to do it without asking for tzedakah, do it. Even if you have to fast for a day. 1 day a week, you have to fast in order that you don't have to ask for tzedakah, do it. Okay? The Haditzran, and that which we learned in a Mishnah, En potchilani aved mimakom lemakom mikfar mikikar bepud yom arbasim v'sela. You're not going to give to an ani, which is going from one city to another city, less than a pudyon. Akikar bepud yom arbasim v'sela. Right? Lan, if he's sleeping in the city, you have to give him parnasat lina in order to sleep there. Vim Shabbat. And if he's going in another city, if he's staying there for Shabbat, he's going to do 3 seudot. Leima, it's obviously going to be Rabbanan, not Rabbi Chidka. So says the Gemara, no, it's Rabbi Chidka. He already has a meal. So that's why you only have to give him 3 meals, because he already has one. Right? The Amrina was, we tell him, whatever you have, eat. So you're going to send them off empty-handed? So it says, no. When he's leaving, you give him a seudah. Okay, my parnasat lina, what does it mean that you're going to give him for parnasat lina, which is basically staying overnight? You're going to give him a bed and some sheets. So right on a pillow. The rabbis taught, the plates that you use on Friday night, you could wash them to use them for shachrit. Shachrit, you could use them to wash them to use them for the afternoon. Afternoon, you could use them for mincha. But from the mincha, you're not allowed to wash it because you don't need it anymore, right? But kosot, cups, you could but other things that you use all the time, you could use the entire day. You could wash them. Why? Because you always continue drinking. All day you're drinking, right? But you're not all day eating. So therefore, that's why. Amar b'shimon ben pazim b'shom levim b'shomer kapara. Says shimon ben pazim b'shom levim b'shomer kapara. Kolo mekayem shalosh seudot b'Shabbat nitzol b'shalosh puraniyot. Somebody eats gimel seudot on Shabbat, he's saved from 3 puraniyot. This was just shows you, everyone, how important it is seudah shlishit, right? And trying to do it 100%. Some people, nah, I don't do seudah shlishit. Listen carefully, right? Everyone listening. Abachaki, Yaakov, yeah, Jean-Paul.
Yes.
Yeah, listen carefully. Shalosh puraniyot. What are the total shalosh puraniyot? Chevlo shel Mashiach. They are saved from all the tzarot that come during the time of Mashiach. When Mashiach is going to come, there's going to be a lot of suffering. You do shalosh seudot, you'll be saved from that suffering.
Amen.
Yeah? Number 2, Midina shel Geinam. You won't go to hell. Yeah? Gemara. Midina shel Geinam. Number 3, Milchemet Gog uMagog. From the war of Gog uMagog. Right before the Mashiach, there's going to be a huge war of Gog uMagog. Right? Again, this is what we're talking about.
When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen?
We don't know. We don't know.
No, I know we don't know. We've been waiting for 2,500 years. 2,000 years we're waiting for. I mean, how much longer can we wait?
We have to continue waiting. Right?
It's a lot of meals. A lot of 3 meals.
Exactly. Yeah, that shows you importance. Shows you the importance. So Chevlo shel Mashiach, was it's written Yom, and it's written there, Hinanochi sholach lechem et Eliya navi li b'yom Yehuda v'shiv levavot al banim ve'lev banim al avotam. Yom. So say day. Zera Shava.
Day by day.
Yeah, Uchtivatem, and it's written over there. Yom Evra, Yom Ha'u. Milchemet Gog uMagog, it's written over here, Yom, and it's written over there, B'yom Gog uMagog. The day of Gog uMagog. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, in the name of Yosef, Kol ha'me'aneg et Shabbat, anybody that's going to do oneg Shabbat, notrim lo nachala b'li mitzarim. They give him nachala without boundaries. So if you have a beautiful Shabbat, and you spend money on Shabbat, and you're enjoying yourself on Shabbat, they give you without boundaries. Right? Shneimar, it says in a pasuk, Az titanag al Adonai v'yikavticha b'amot haaretz, v'achalticha nachalat Yaakov avicha, ki pi Adonai diber. Right? That's what he says. Lo, kuf yudchet amubet. I'm not like Avraham Avinu, shekatuv bo that it's written, kum italech ba'aretz, lorka. And not like Yitzchak, it's written, ki licha zerachad, I'm going to give it to your children, ela like Yaakov. It says, ufaratzta yamma v'kedma, you're going to disperse to the east and to the west, and north and to the south, without any types of boundaries whatsoever. You want to continue for a few minutes?
Yes. Let's continue this way. We are advanced.
Yes.
Very good.
This is juicy, very juicy now.
Yeah, it's juicy. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, a person will also going to, if somebody's going to be me'aneg to Shabbat, oneg Shabbat, you have a good whiskey, a good beer, a good piece of meat, fish, you enjoy yourself on Shabbat. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Yitzol mishibu galuyot. He will not be subjugated in exile. Because it's written, V'kavticha b'amot haaretz, u'ktivat v'atava b'amot ha'adiroch, that you will be like on Bamot, which means you're going to be saved from your enemies. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, says in the Rav, Kol ha'me'aneg et Shabbat, anybody that's going to be me'aneg et Shabbat, notrim lo mishalo libo. They will give him mishalo libo, everything that his heart desires. Shneimar, itaneg al Hashem, if you're going to be mitaneg al Hashem, yitel lecha mishalo libecha, he'll give you what your heart desires. Oneg zen, I don't know what the oneg is. Shehu omer, when it says karat Shabbat, oneg. And they omer, it's oneg Shabbat. It's oneg Shabbat. How are you going to do oneg Shabbat? the Shmuel bar Shila, Mishpeh de Rav Amar, Rav Yehuda, the son of Shmuel bar Shila, says the name of Rav, betavshil shel tradim, v'dagim d'orim, v'rasheh shomim. With a tavshil of tradim, right, with spinach, yeah, a spinach dish with big fish, and a big fish, v'rasheh shomim, and heads of garlic. Achia barashi amarav, afilu dvar muat, lichvod Shabbat, even if it's something small, but you're doing a lichvod Shabbat kodesh, that's only Shabbat. Maihi, what is it? Amar papa kisa dar sina, like sardines, small fish, which are in like powdered fish. The canchetas, I forgot how they call it. Right? It's like a Spanish dish. So it's like small sardines, but they put it in flour and oil, right? Like it's like fried. Okay. Amar Rav Chia bar Abba Rav Yochanan. Says Rav Chia bar Abba name of Yochanan. Kol ha-meshamer et ha-Shabbat ki-ilchato. Anybody that shomer Shabbat like the halacha, afilu oved avodah zara k'dor enosh. Even if it's going to be oved avodah zara like dor enosh, mochalin lo, they're going to forgive him his sins. Shneimar ashrei enosh yaseh zot michalelo. Shomer Shabbat michalelo. Al tikre michalelo ela machul. Don't say michalelo. It's machullo. He gets forgiveness. Which means, but that's only if you really keep Shabbat. There's a lot of people that they don't keep Shabbat. Understand that they do Shabbat ki'ilu, right? But they don't really keep Shabbat. There's a lot of, tricks, this, that. Yeah, I keep Shabbat. Understand? A person has to be careful. Okay? So Amar Rav Yehuda Rav says Rav Yehuda Rav, Ilmale shamru Yisrael Shabbat Rishona, lo shalta b'hen uma v'lashon. If Bnei Yisrael would have kept the first Shabbat, right? We just read this 2 weeks ago in Parashat Shelach. If we would have kept the first Shabbat without being Michalel Shabbat, nobody would have been able to conquer us. Shneimar, there were people that came, right? Or sorry, this is already the way before already, right? And the people that they went and they left over food. They went to grab the food on Shabbat, right? Obviously, it was the Tam Vavidam. It's written immediately afterwards, Ve'yavo Malek. This is the Parashat Beshalach. So Amar Rav Yochanan Mishum Shimon Yochai says if the Jews would keep 2 Shabbatot, immediately they would be redeemed. Shneimar, as it says in the pasuk, Ko Amar Hashem l'sarisim, Asher yishminu Shabbatai yochtim batre, avutim el al-kodshim. Okay? Fine. I don't understand, according to this, just one Shabbos and we'll all be free. Here it says 2 Shabbatot.
Well, that's a very big statement to say that 2 Shabbatot and will be redeemed is impossible. You're talking about all the Jewish people.
Yeah. It's not impossible. You can do something called the Shabbos project.
Because the Reformed Jews, they would never do Shabbat. So they say, we know that pasuk is cancelled immediately.
You have to remember, a lot of the Reformed Jews, it could be that they're not... 1 second. So, Amar Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef, Yeheh chelki me'ochle shalosh seudot b'Shabbat. My portion should always be with people that are eating 3 seudot on Shabbat. Amar Rav Yosef says, Yosef, Yeheh chelki me'ochle alel b'chol yom. My portion should always be with the people that we're always finishing Hallel every single day. So ask the Gemara, any is it so? Amar Momor says, if you say Hallel every single day, you're mecharef gadef. You're like cursing Hashem. What are you doing? You're laughing at Hashem. So it says, no. We're talking about Pesach Zimra, which means that the Hallelukot in Pesach Zimra, that's what it means. That's the Hallels. So Amar Rabbi Yosef says Rabbi Yosef, it should always be the people that pray with nets. So here it says there's actually shachrit with the nets, where the nets is coming out, and mincha close to the shekiyah, right? Which is the second mincha in Arabic. Okay? Amar Rav Chia bar Abba, Amar Rav Yochanan says Rav Yochanan, there's a mitzvah to pray with the nets and close to the shekiyah nighttime. Amar Rabbi Zera says Rabbi Zera might quote the pasuk, Yiraucha im shemesh, right? Im shemesh lifnei yorech dor dorim, which means you should always be seen with the sun. So the sun in the morning when it comes up, or the nighttime when it's going down, right? Rabbi Yosef says, right? He should always be people that they die with cholim me'ayim, with with sicknesses in their stomach, right? Like stomach problems. The Amar more and more says, the majority of tzaddikim, they die with chole me'ayin. Amar Rabbi Yosef says, by mitzvah. They should die with people that derech mitzvah. Amar Rabbi Yosef says, right? They should be with all of the ones that are dying in Tveria. Whether they should accept. The first one was that they die in derech to do a mitzvah, which means it's a zechut to die when you're doing a mitzvah. It's a zechut. Okay? And the second one, Rabbi Yosef says, that he should always start Shabbat in Tveria and Motzei Shabbat in Tzipori. But Tveria, since they're they're the earliest to open up to take Shabbat in, because it becomes dark earlier because they're in like a plain, right, which is lower down in the ground, right? But on Motzei Shabbat in Tzipori, which is on a mountain, so therefore they're the last ones to take Shabbat out because they still see the sun setting. So they're the last ones to take Shabbat out. Right? That means you should always be from the earliest to take Shabbat and the latest to take out Shabbat. Rabbi Yosef says, I should always be people that they always sit people down in the Bet HaMidrash and not that I send people out of the Bet HaMidrash. Rabbi Yosef says, should be always for the people that are Gabayet Tzedakah, not Mechalket Tzedakah. Rabbi Yosef says, a person should always be suspected, but that he's clean of suspicion. Meaning, if he's already suspected, that he should be clean of it. Rav Papa says that he chashdan, they suspected me once of doing something, but I didn't actually have it. Okay, so this is a famous Gemara based on Batra, that they suspected him of doing something wrong and he didn't actually do something wrong. Amar Rabbi, sorry. Right? Amar Rabbi Yosef, says Rabbi Yosef, Chamesh Bilot, Baalti v'natati chamisha razim Yisrael. Right? He had 5 times relations and he was able to plant 5 big cedar trees amongst Israel. Umani knew who are they? Rabbi Ishmael Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chalafta Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Tilas Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Menachem Rabbi Yosef. So these are his 5 children. Their 5 children were very, very great. So ask the Gemara, Vayika Vardimas. He had another child who was Vardimas. He says, no, Vardimas is Menachem. So why did he call him Vardimas? Shepanav Domin Levere, because he was very, very reddish. He was a reddish child, so his face was like a vere, like a rose. Okay? So the Meimra, Rabbi Yosef mitzvah tonah lo kiyem, he says what? Rabbi Yosef never fulfilled the mitzvah v'onah? There's an obligation. What does that mean? That he had chamesh beilot, what does that mean? Right? So it says, Elaim chamesh beilot ba'alti v'shaniti. That he did it 5 times and he repeated it. Right? He did it twice. So Amar Rabbi Yosef says Rabbi Yosef, right, that means it wasn't just once. He would do it again in order to make sure that he would have a child, that it would be a male and so on and so forth. Amar Rabbi Yosef says Rabbi Yosef, Yamai lo kariti li ishti, shori shori, ela li ishti beiti shori sadi. I never call my wife, and my ox, my ox. I always call my wife my house, and my ox, my field. Amar Rabbi Yosef says Rabbi Yosef, I never looked at my brit milah. Because of sniut, I never looked at my own brit milah. So I asked the Gemara, is it so? They told Rabbi, why did they call him Rabbeinu HaKadosh? Why was Rabbi Yehuda Nasi called Rabbeinu HaKadosh? Amalu, he told them, because I never looked at my brit milah. So he says, he never placed his hand underneath into his brit milah also. Rabbi Yosef says, Rabbi Yosef, that's why he was called Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Says Rabbi Yosef, I never had, and that means whenever I took off my clothing, I always took off my clothing underneath like a blanket. So the walls of my house never saw my body. Rabbi Yosef says, Rabbi Yosef, I never went against my friends. Which means that I know I'm not a Kohen. But if they tell me go do Birkat Kohanim, I would go. I never said something and I retracted. That means if I said something, I kept it. Amar Rav Nachman, says Rav Nachman, Teiti le de kayamt shalosh seudah b'Shabbat. Kol hakavod, I should get my reward, but I did always shalosh seudot. Amar Rav Yehuda said today, I hear the Iyun Tefillah, I always did Iyun Tefillah. I looked into my Tefillah with kavanah. Amar Rav Yeshua, Teiti le de sagina. I never went 4 amot without a head covering. Amar Rav Sheshat, Teiti le de kayamt mitzat tefillin, I always had tefillin on. Amar Rav Nachman said to le de kayamt mitzat tefillin, I always had tzitzit. Right? So there's a whole question, what does this mean, Teiti? So they say that they were extra careful with these mitzvot. That it never happened. Like it was something even above and beyond. If not, everyone does tzitzit. Everyone has tefillin. It was something extra. So Amar Rav Yosef bered Rabba. What is your father so careful in? He said mitzvah tzitzit. Once it happened that he was going up a ladder and one of the strings broke, he didn't go down until they brought him another tzitzit. He had to get a new tzitzit. He didn't want to go with a broken tzitzit. Yeah? Now Amar Abai says, I should get reward. Because when I see the rabbis that they do a siyum masechet, avdina yom atav l'rabbanan, I make a huge seudah for the rabbis. So this is where we come from, that when you have a siyum masechet, you're supposed to make a big, huge seudah. Okay? So B'ezrat Hashem, we're ready for the next one. Yeah, we're on
Yes.
Right, we go until Kufun Zayin. Yeah?
So now this is Thursday already.
Yes.
The Daf of Thursday,